Good morning, Yamhill County. You are tuned right here to KLYC 1260 AM. I am Kyle Hunter, and you are listening to The Root of It.
Yes, and I'm Ray Van Blarkum, and we are volunteers with the Oregon State Extension Office over on Lafayette Avenue, 2050 Lafayette. This is your central location. If you have gardening questions, do call us this morning. We have lines open at 503-435-1260.
That's correct.
Hey, see, I remembered.
That's right. And welcome back. We did miss you last week. We had a very capable co-host in Sharon, and we talked about raised beds.
Oh, bless her heart. She's good.
Yeah, you know,
and she knows what she's talking about, too.
Do you want me to tell you how good she is and how much she knows she's talking about? Is because I brought in a planter that was a plastic planter that I picked up, and it actually it didn't have any holes at the bottom, and she very astutely pointed that out and said, you might want to put some holes in this. And I put that in, I filed that. I'm like, yes, I absolutely do need to do that. And I didn't. But now I have about 12 or 15 pots that needed holes in them at the bottom, and they didn't get them, and now they're just these big, watery glop messes because of the rain that we have had. And if I would have just taken half an hour to drill these holes, I wouldn't be dealing with these swampy, new planted, it's a fiasco.
Yeah.
But she was very astute, and she pointed out that I might want to do that, and I should have.
Yeah, as a master gardener, we're supposed to know that stuff, you know.
Right, absolutely. I should have looked at the bottom immediately. And
Turn the pot up?
Yeah, I think that maybe I let my plants get dry enough, like to the point of too dry, that I didn't really consider drainage a problem because it just never gets wet enough.
I stuck a little Japanese maple in this giant pot, and it was doing fine. And I hooked it up to the drip irrigation, and everything was going along just hunky-dory. And all of a sudden I noticed that the ends of the leaves were getting kind of brown and kind of, you know, you could pretty soon see through the edges.
Oh, right.
That's not a good sign.
No.
So I thought, oh man, what's going on?
Obviously a virus, right?
Yo, it must be something, you know, or I've got some kind of botanical root rot.
Right.
You know, icky stuff. And no, it was the fact that there was no hole in the bottom of the pot. So I had to pull the Japanese maple out and have my grandson come over and dig out the pot, because these are like 30-gallon pots.
Very heavy.
Yeah, and sure enough, it was not happening.
No.
There was...
And what I've noticed is in some of the things that I left out over the winter, the clay that I've incorporated into my compost, it is all at the bottom, and those holes that are at the bottom are non-existent because it's like having a clay pot on top of it. It's just it's separated so much that the fine silt is at the top of the pot, and then just clay.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Oh, ick.
But Sharon, great. Thank you for the help. I will take it under advisement this week, and I will take it as homework, because especially this week we have great weather. It's looking like we're in the mid-60s today. Tomorrow for Mother's Day, 70 and clear. Is that it's about perfect, right?
It is for me.
Yeah.
And it's going to get even more perfect. Like I may pull out a pair of shorts probably by Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
I might.
And you might. You might.
I might let the old blue veiners run free.
You know, as soon as you said that, that's all I could think about were the blue veiners. Because Wednesday, we're looking at 87 degrees.
Yeah.
And again, clear. Whew, that's hot.
Yeah, time to tan the varicose.
Right, exactly. Get a little more color around there so they blend a little better, right?
Yeah.
But then this time next week, we're looking at chances of rain in the high 60s. Well, so
you notice though that the rainy periods are getting shorter.
Yes, I have noticed that.
And the sunny periods are getting longer, obviously.
Right.
But that's how it's like when we get to October and you get 2 days of rain, and then November you get 4 days of rain, and then December you don't see the sun till January.
Right.
And, well, that's the same way we come out of winter. is you get 2 days of sunlight, and then you get 3 days of sunlight, and you kind of edge out.
So you just start to notice the pattern that there's more sun than there is rain, and by mid-June, by July 4th, there is no rain.
Yeah, that's why you don't worry too much about planting your vegetables and things like that till after the 1st of June. Don't get too eager.
Next week is our tomato and roses show. And
yes.
So we're going to be talking about tomatoes and roses, and I will be bringing in some tomatoes that I picked up from our annual plant sale, and as well as one that I grafted myself.
Really?
Back at the seminar in March.
How's it doing?
It's alive. It is. I would have expected it to be, I don't know, about a foot tall, maybe a foot and a half. But right now, it's still. It looks like a pretty capable seedling at about about 8 inches, and I've actually one that I bought at the plant sale has actually flowered already, and it is also about 8 inches. So still kind of small, but it's something that we do need to start talking about because everybody's going to be interested in both those things, tomatoes and roses. So next week, that's what we'll talk about.
Yeah, you can only let your tomatoes set on the dryer so long.
Oh, I have them in the windowsill right now, and they're just leaning up against the window.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I know I went out there.
Yeah, when they start crawling the frame, it's time to let them loose.
Right, exactly.
That's a good idea, though. Yeah, we'll do tomatoes and roses next week.
Yep, and later today we're going to get into some invasive species.
Oh, I read the list that you sent to me.
Sure.
And I was kind of embarrassed, but not really, because I was down in my office all by myself. So nobody knew what I was giggling about.
And that's why people are going to want to stick around for this, because it's surprising what is on this list. That I don't know if they're sold in nurseries anymore, but they're definitely popular ornamental plants. In there.
Yeah. Well, ornamentals. We ought to talk about what's the difference between an invasive and a noxious and an ornamental. That would be a good idea so people know what we're talking about.
Right, and I think that you want to get into this right now. You want to start defining some of these terms.
Well, yeah. Let's go for it. Hey, I've been
unless there's a caller right now. Let's go into some invasive terms.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of them. And in case you didn't see your field notes here, there's about 15 pages of invasive species and terms and lists. And the thing that brought this up is one of our fellow master gardeners, Patty, sent me a list of invasive species, not yet invasive in Oregon. However, they've been spotted and they're invasive everywhere else, but control measures are being brought upon them right now, so they're trying to be controlled. But this list that was compiled then made me think, it's invasive species time, because I've been plucking stuff out of my garden, and so what exactly is an invasive species?
Well, we'll start with what is a native species. A native species is something that was here before Europeans came and colonized Oregon. And it was something that grows naturally. It grows naturally in our climate, and it loves the topography. It loves the geography. It loves everything about being here. And it's something that is like an original plant.
Right.
It wasn't brought here by wagon train.
Right.
Or the Indians didn't bring it over from northern Russia or whatever.
Right.
And then we have non-native species, which are your exotics that you can buy at the nursery. You can buy them at the plant store, and you think they're so cute that you put them out in your garden, and maybe they do fine. Maybe they just,
like a marigold. That's going to be a different term. Never mind.
Yeah,
disregard that. But the non-native is brought to the Pacific Northwest by humans, either deliberately or by accident.
Yeah.
But they're not invasive like the next term, which an invasive plant thrives and spreads aggressively outside its natural range.
And we got lots of them. The one that comes quickly to my mind, of course, is Scotch broom.
Oh.
Which, there's huge eradication programs to get rid of Scotch broom. But if you go to Georgia, people buy Scotch broom because it's a beautiful plant, and they put it in their yards.
And then they move to Oregon and say,
And
where's
then
my
they
Scotch broom?
Yeah, they move to Oregon and they go, oh, you've got all this stuff just growing naturally on the hillside. Look at that beautiful yellow there.
Is that your Georgia accent?
Yeah.
That's awesome. But so the invasive, and that they take over, and that's the problem, is it's not their natural environment, not their natural habitat, and the things that are already there aren't really built to compete with them. So the invasive plant will just take over.
A lot of it has to do with there's no herbivore. There's nothing that eats or disturbs these invasive plants. They're out of their element. They get into a new element, and there's nothing there that actually helps control them.
Or their roots spread in such a way that it competes with the natural plants or the native plants that are there. Or they grow taller than the native plants, and so they block out the shade and prevent the native plants from growing. Yeah, they're just they're invasive. I mean, that's even a strong word.
Well, and then there's weeds, just plain old weeds, which are generally invasive, and that's why they tick us off so bad.
One of my favorite.
Notice how I cleaned that one up.
Yeah, it's my favorite quote from my dad. Is a weed is just an unwanted plant, and a rose can be a weed if it's in the wrong place,
right?
Or planted for the wrong person.
I got hostas that are pushing the weed category because
pushing the invasive.
They're pushing invasive real hard. I'm going to have to separate them puppies out with a shovel. I can see already. Last year they were about a foot over the sidewalk. They're a foot over the sidewalk already.
Oh my gosh!
And so I'm going to have to divide them soon with a big shovel.
Right.
So
divide them or just throw them away, or you?
I've got a couple of homes.
Oh, okay.
Because I do have some really unique colored leaves, like the dark green with the chartreuse trim.
Oh, of course.
That one's. But
anything chartreuse.
Yeah, the sucker's 3 foot tall already. So and probably the base of it's a good 2.5 feet across.
And you didn't water it this winter or anything?
No,
it
just came up that way.
Bloop.
Yeah, I should have dug it up last fall and put it in pots and then gave it away.
But you did not.
I should have taken some to the plant sales, what I should have done. That was wrong of me. And Patty, please forgive me. I'll bring them next year, I swear to God.
Right. And then another term is the noxious weed, and that's it's because it's harmful to agriculture, water resources, or human health. It's because they give off some kind of poison, or the animal will eat it and die because it's poisonous.
Tansy ragwort.
Oh?
That's a bad one.
Yes.
Bad for horses, bad for cattle.
Right, and some of these, it's really important if you own these animals to know exactly what weeds are out there. It's important to know the plants.
And the only thing that really controls it is this cinnabar moth larva. How about that?
How about that, Ray? This little larva is the only thing.
That's the only thing that eats the plant and eats the seeds out of the plant so it stops spreading.
Oh.
That's why it's so, these things are all tied together. Mm-hmm. And when you take them out of their natural element because they're pretty and you take them home to make them your friend, and sometimes they're not good garden guests.
Right.
And
that's the invasive list is incredible, and a few of these plants are going to probably be familiar to the seasoned gardener, but we'll get into that. We'll take a break and talk more about the invasive plants that are in Oregon and that are coming to Oregon. And maybe we
give us a call at 503-435-1260 if you have a plant that's eating your garden.
You're listening to KLYC 1260 AM.
AM 1260 KLYC, and we do want to thank Recology Northwest Greenlands for being a sponsor of To the Root of It. And we are right now at Recology talking to Nick Olheiser, the supervisor lead here in McMinnville. Nick, thank you for sponsoring the program.
Thank you very much.
So you and I were talking just before we started making this interview, was that the weather's been kind of crazy, but we're going to be heading into spring. What's going on now at Recology? So what are you selling right now here in this time of year?
We're still selling pretty much all of our in-yard products. It'll range from anywhere from a rock to all the barks. We have soil mixes, the compost, We're still doing the concrete mixing station services. We still have the blower truck services and delivery services pretty much anywhere in the local community, even some of the out communities as well.
What are your prices?
They're going to range from anywhere from about $15 for the half yards all the way up to the $30, $35 range for full yard.
Now, one of the nice things about having Recology here in McMinnville, it's very convenient to come down and get a truckload. Or how small quantities do you sell?
As far as in-yard pickup truckload, we go all the way down to half yard, and then we go up to however much you want to take at once, and you can come back and make several trips and get as much as you need, or if you're wanting to save a little bit of time, we can go ahead and deliver that right to your doorstep.
And how do they contact you?
Be either through the phone, which is 503-434-1671, or as well, we also have our new website all set up, which is compostoregon.com. It has all of our pricing and on hours as well as our address.
And your hours here at Recology Northwest Greenlands in McMinnville?
It's going to be 8 to 4, Monday through Friday, and then Saturday is 9 to 4.
Talking to Nick Olheiser, the supervisor lead for Recology Northwest Greenlands, sponsor here of To the Root of It on AM 1260 KLYC. Hey, it's time to get your wheels ready for summer vacation, and Davison Auto Parts, home of Napa Know-How, is ready to help. To keep you going, Valvoline Conventional or Max Life Oil, only $3.59 a quart. And to help you stop, you can get up to a $50 rebate Visa card with qualifying brake purchase. To keep you pulling, buy any in-stock hitch and get a free combination ball mount. This is also the season for rebates. On spark plugs, save up to $2 per plug for AC Delco after rebate, and save $2.50 per plug for Autolite Extreme Performance Iridium plugs. Keeping you on the road with Napa Know-How, Davison Auto Parts, Staten, Woodburn, Sheridan, and McMinnville.
Knee pain from arthritis can be debilitating. It can wake you up at night, make it difficult to get up from a chair, and limit your ability to walk in the community. I am Dr. Mike Vesley, the Medical Director of the Joint Replacement Institute at Willamette Valley Medical Center. Our program is patient-centered and focused on patient education and a rapid recovery after surgery. If knee pain from arthritis is limiting you, please call me to schedule a consultation at 503-435-6571.
Are we back yet?
No, we're not back until I say we're back.
All righty, here we are, folks. I'll do my Cisco impression. No.
Okay, so we are back, and you're listening to The Root of It right here on KLYC. We took a short break in which we discussed some more invasive plants because today we decided to discuss these lists that they have out there right now, because most of them are popping up into everybody's garden, everybody's yard, and you might just know one of these. The biggest one, and we usually talk about this one, is the blackberry.
Yeah.
The Himalayan blackberry is what we call it around here, but it's the Armenian blackberry because it was actually originally from northern Iran and Armenia.
Right.
And
hence the Himalayan
right.
adjective.
They're so close to each other. So this one is, everybody loves blackberries. The taste of blackberries, nobody wants to deal with the seeds, though. But the taste, it's so wonderful. It's great. Isn't it nice to have it along the roadside and in the forest so you can just pick it wherever you want? And the answer is no.
Well, if you're lost in September, it might be handy.
Right.
But other than that, so are salmonberries and huckleberries.
And that is the alternative that is suggested, is the salmonberry, and I'm growing my first salmonberries. I planted them last year, so hopefully I'll get some fruit from this year. Little orange-colored berries.
Yep. Delicious jelly, though.
That are from around here, and they delicious jelly. I think every berry makes a delicious jelly. Anything with sugar. And so the salmonberry is an alternative to this, because that Himalayan blackberry, it grows to it can grow 30 feet in its first year, which is incredible.
Well, that was the reason it was originally brought in and cultivated as a berry crop, as a commercial berry crop, and of course it escaped back in 1800, Christ was born.
Right, exactly. And that was the problem. Is like, okay, we can contain this and we'll just put it right here.
Yeah.
Isn't this great? And then no, now it's choking the forests.
Yeah.
And
First
the
bird eats a berry,
roadsides.
takes it over, poops a berry.
It's
Bingo. Blackberry.
there you go. Himalayan blackberry.
Yeah, there it is.
There you go. So that's the big one. The shining geranium. This one for me is one of the bane of my existence because it is found in the oak forests.
Oak savanna.
It likes to be along there, and it's a perennial grass. Oh no, wait, I'm sorry. And the reason that I don't like it is because I have oak forests, and this thing just covers.
It loves acid soil, which is, what oak leaves acidify soil.
Right.
That's why they make a really kind of a poor compost or mulch, because they will acidify your soil really quickly. But this stuff loves it.
Right, and these leaves are rounded, and they're deeply lobed, and they have a waxy appearance, and it's really recognizable when you see it because they're not just in a small little area. They cover football field. They cover 25 feet at a time, and it's just all on the ground, and it's basically the only ground cover that you see.
Right. That's why it is such an evil plant. Is it does replace all the natural grasses and the natural things that should be growing up
because
there.
I can get it in my garden, and it will cover everywhere, and I won't get a fescue grass. I mean, maybe one lone fescue
fights its way through.
Right, exactly. But everything else is like, no, nothing else gets through these things. And so that's one thing to look out for is the shining geranium.
Fennel's another one that can be very evil because it self-sees. It is like the fertile myrtle of the grasslands.
No, what also kind of makes it evil, and fennel is an invasive species here in Oregon, and it's a big surprise and a big shock to a lot of people because it's used as a very helpful herb. And it's been used for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And it's great, and some people like the taste of it, apparently. I'm not a fan of the fennel myself, but it's in gardens, and you just see it growing wild everywhere. That's because it's invasive.
Yeah. People do cook with it. They make teas with it. It has alleged medicinal properties. Personally, I'm not a big fennel fan either. But
okay, great.
Yeah, no, we do agree on that one, that's for sure. But the alternatives are things like, well, there's native alternatives. You can use wild white asters, goat's beard, Canadian goldenrod are all good replacements for fennel in your garden and much more colorful.
Right. Better flowers.
And they behave themselves. They play nicely with other plants.
Right. And because the fennel has the toxic roots that are possible to other plants.
Yeah, they prevent other plants from growing. They're very selfish about their dirt.
Right. They make the environment around their roots uninhabitable by other plants.
Right. You can't even plant a dandelion next to fennel.
Right. You don't want to plant beans, potatoes, nothing.
No, if it gets in your garden, you can mess up a lot of turf real quick.
Right.
And there's really not much you can do about it, except keep it out of the garden and let that soil rest for a little while. Cover it with black plastic and cook the seed or something.
It really is. For me, it's one of those plants that I see in the grocery store, and I immediately pass it up. Well,
there's good replacements, though, that are ornamentals as well, like just plain old sunflowers. Will help.
Sure. I mean, I guess if you're going to go to this, I mean, because that was the recommended in by the extension office there. But I mean, sunflowers, yeah, sure. Roses, you could replace it with roses. You could replace it with a whole bunch of other things.
Here's if you got blackberries, and you can,
and who doesn't,
and you can manage to get rid of them. We'll discuss that probably in September because that's the time to really start getting rid of. There's no sense trying now. No matter what you paint on them, spray on them.
This is their time to grow.
Burn them out. It ain't going to happen.
Right.
All you do is make them angry, and they lay there and fertilize themselves.
Right, because they're just continuously growing. That's what their roots are doing.
Yeah.
And their roots are spreading, and I'm having that issue with my raspberries right now too.
Really?
Yeah.
Your raspberries are invasive?
They kind of are. Some of the Marionberry is. That's actually the one that's invasive. That's crawling all over my garden right now. I planted it in a special area. But
Really?
It's going all over the place.
I have 2 words for you.
Yes.
Black and Decker.
What, screwdriver? What? Yeah, I know. It's one of those plants, though, that I look at and I really want to keep propagating and like, I don't know, if I could make the blackberries go away by putting the raspberries out there, I'd like to do that. But they don't work that way.
And Rocky Mountain Thimbleberry, I don't know what that one is.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, but they,
It looks pretty.
Here's another one, though, that you see and people go, oh, wow, and you hear about it on the Rose Parade. It's a big thing in the Rose Parade. Every year the floats are covered with this crud.
Yes, this crud.
The purple pampas grass.
It just sounds pompous, doesn't it? The pampas grass.
Pampas grass.
And the pampas grass is essentially one of those, when it goes to season, when it goes to flower or whatever it is,
Yeah.
it gets these really tall things that are almost peacock feather
Yeah.
like. Not the color, they're perfectly cream white,
Yeah.
but they're feathery. And
They're an accent plant.
right. And they are an invasive plant also because they take over the roadsides. they take over everywhere. And as I was looking at this, I'm like, wow, that's pretty familiar looking. And they're tall grasses. They can get 9 feet, 10 feet tall of this shooting feather out of nowhere. And I'm like, oh, that's
Those
really
are all
familiar.
seed heads, too.
Right, exactly. Those are all spreading. In my driveway right before, I have the tallest pampas grasses end booking my driveway. And I haven't really liked them since we've moved in. However, it just seems like a big pain to get rid of these huge, tall things. They're probably about 15 feet around, too, of mass. And I've chopped into them once, and it's like a palm root ball at the trunk that's just spreading and has all of these branches sticking out. And I have not wanted to deal with them, but I will probably be properly motivated this summer to just get rid of them because I don't want to propagate a pampas grass.
Well, and the dang thing about it is when you do dig them up, you're going to have a root ball like an oak wad.
Right.
You think you got one of your oak trees growing down there because they root really well.
Right. Yeah.
But on one of our trips last summer, we were traveling from Santa Barbara up to Santa Cruz, and I started seeing this pampas grass, and it dawned on me that that's a hell of a fire hazard. There's a reason that the California wildfires cover a lot of territory, and it's because they have a lot of grass.
Yeah, and this pampas grass, as soon as it winters, it dies. It's just this big, huge mass of dead, just leaves, and yeah, absolutely a big fire hazard. I have a friend that has one that's right next to her house, right in front of her house, and she's like, "Oh wow, I think I just need to cut that back." And I'm like, no, I think you need to get rid of it. I think that's a fire hazard. And yes, right here, it says that it is a fire hazard and it is invasive, and we need to stomp out the pampas grass.
Well, here's something that I didn't really know about pampas grass, besides the fact that a little bitty pampas grass accent plant can, in just a couple of years, be a 12-foot ball of crud.
Right.
Like you say, 10, 12 feet tall. It does have very sharp leaves and can cut skin and hands, so you can't really pull it.
Even if you could pull it, you really couldn't pull it.
No. And all plants in the pampas grass group are female and can develop viable seed without fertilization.
Nice.
They are self-fertilizing, that's why they grow so well.
Right. They don't need any. They don't need 2 of 1 to
No.
get it done. No.
No.
2 of 1 to get it done.
No. They don't need male and female. They can breed just fine, but it's like
But we do have alternatives, and we have native alternatives to start with. Native one is a giant chain fern. And these are all things that would grow right where the pampas grass, and that's why they're alternatives, because they're growing right in the same area in the habitat.
But they will stay put. They don't spread.
Right.
Yeah, they get to their size, and then that's the size they stay, and they're easily controlled. There's ornamentals too, like giant cicaton and blue stem grasses, feather reed grasses. What's that one that I really like? But that one's kind of invasive too. The Japanese red blood grass.
I think that's
that
on the
wanders.
list. I think that's on the list, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, that's one though that it's easily controlled because you can just pull it up. You can keep a little clump, but.
And grasses are a really big ornamental around here. It's just making sure that you have the right one, like a giant ryegrass. California fescue is even a native one that's around here. But those do really make good accents. And I can see where someone would look at this pampas grass and say, oh, that is pretty because it does have that little feathery thing. But looks can be deceiving.
For a couple of years, and it becomes like your worst ex-wife.
Right. Just the worst one.
The meanest one.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyway, do we need to take another little break?
Do you want to take a break before we get into the thistle problem?
Yeah, that's because that's pretty deep.
Yeah, that's pretty deep. It cuts deep like a thistle.
This is Ray and Kyle with To the Root of It from KLYC Radio 1260 on your radio dial. Give us a call, 503-435-1260, and we'll see if we can make the phone thing work.
AM 1260 KLYC, To the Root of It, and sponsor for To the Root of It here is Recology Northwest Greenlands, having a facility here in McMinnville. We're talking to Nick Olheiser, the supervisor lead. Now, Recology Northwest Greenlands has undergone a bit of a change in their corporate structure and their name and so on and so forth, but they're still here in McMinnville, still here to provide quality mulch and garden products.
Yeah, absolutely. About 3 years ago, we were purchased by a San Francisco-based company called Recology. Basically, it's just been a rebranding for us in a sense. We've changed a few of our processes that we do here on site. Other than that, everything's the same. We still offer the same services, the same great staff, and the same competitive prices as well.
So if you need something in mulch for your garden, your operation, come down here to Recology. Now, when people talk about Recology Northwest Greenlands, what do you want them to think of as what you provide or the company?
I want them to realize that we are the new face of composting in a sense. This is kind of where the industry is shifting towards the more organics side of it, and I want us to be the front runners, and I want us to be more involved in the community, and I want them to know all about us when they hear our name.
And where are you located? What are your hours?
2200 Northeast Orchard Avenue here in McMinnville, and hours are going to be 8 to 4 Monday through Friday and 9 to 4 Saturday.
Talking to Nick Olheiser and Recology Northwest Greenlands, the sponsor of To the Root of It, right here on AM 1260 KLYC. If you're involved in a vehicle crash, you need to take your car or light truck to a repair center that will fix it right the first time. The philosophy of J&W CarStar Collision Repair Center in McMinnville is relax. We'll take it from here. Roger Fowler stands by his crew's reputation. J&W CarStar Collision Repair Center, 1100 Northeast Lafayette in McMinnville.
Every once in a while, you just got to play the long version of the song, just because you realize it's Saturday morning, and I don't know, maybe you're in the garden and listening to us, maybe trying to get motivated to get into that garden. But it looks like there's a few drops of sun out there. It looks really great. As I was driving in here, I saw blue skies.
It's not going to be a bad afternoon. It'll be a good day to go out and do a little bit this afternoon.
Yeah, definitely. I will try.
I've got plants that need to be planted, and they probably won't get planted till tomorrow.
Do you have plants from the plant sale that you haven't planted yet?
Dahlias.
Yeah.
Yep. 18 of them.
18 dahlias.
Yeah.
My gosh. I have dahlias that I got 2 years ago that are still going. You know, they're reseeding wherever dahlias do.
They make little tubers.
Yeah.
And then, if you mulch them good over winter, they'll overwinter if you.
Oh, I don't do that.
I know.
But they come back anyway.
Oh, you got You got brave dahlias.
Got brave dahlias. The soil was good enough to last 2 years in small pots. It's really great.
Yeah.
But we are talking about invasive species of plants today, and some of the things that we've been talking about is the fennel is in there. But there's
pampas
also
grass.
Pampas grass.
Bad.
Still fun to say though.
Yeah.
And the
looks good on a rose festival float. That's about it.
That's right. And then what was the thistle?
Yeah, that's a noxious one.
It's noxious.
It gets into the bad category
because there is livestock that will eat it, and they don't appreciate it. And I did not realize this until I moved to Oregon. I'm looking at this thistle that fills my pasture land in my front yard. It's a beautiful purple flower that comes out of this thing, though.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, as soon as that flower is done, there's a whole bunch of seeds that spread.
Tens of thousands in each head.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's why it can cover a pasture in a couple of seasons.
And if they don't come up the next season, they'll come up the season after that.
Oh, they'll lay there for years.
Yeah.
That's another bad thing about it is they don't all sprout the next year, and they can really mess up your pasture land. It can threaten forage production. It can get into grass seed growing pasture lands, your garden.
That's right. I mean, can you imagine your grass seeds seller? And this is a really big deal here in Oregon, doing grass, selling grass.
Oh man!
But if you could get 1 of 10,000 of these seeds in one batch of your grass seed, that's not good.
Yep, you got nothing. You got a whole barn full of stuff.
Right.
Nothing. One thing I was reading, and I'm going to bring this up. There's a really kind of a fun thing down in Philomath that is a fundraiser dinner that is created from invasive species.
See, I'm glad you're bringing this up because you mentioned this just briefly in an email that I got right before I was going out the door, and I was like, couldn't look it up, couldn't find anything about it.
No, this is real.
Sounded really interesting.
This is real. I'm going to try to find it this summer and make it a weekend trip. It's a gourmet dinner prepared by chefs, and they do things like invasive feral pig is the main entree, but they also do interesting things like pulled river rat sandwiches, sliders.
Okay.
Those what are the name of the things with the big long tails? They were
a tiger, a monkey, an elephant.
No, doggone it, the word is gone. They were brought into Oregon to replace the mink industry.
Oh no, you have definitely. I'm not an Oregon history.
Okay, anyway, I'll think of it. But they use invasive and noxious animals. Like wild boars do millions and millions of dollars of damage if they get established in a rangeland or farming area. And there's a very well-funded eradication program.
And because there aren't just invasive plants, I mean, that's what we're talking, because we're gardeners, so obviously we're going to talk about that, but there are invasive animals, there are invasive bugs, there are invasive bacteria, invasive viruses, there are a lot of invasive subgenres.
Well, where I was going with that whole thing is their salad course is made out of purslane.
Purslane?
Purslane and chickweed.
And chickweed?
Yeah.
That sounds...
Yeah, it's that little...
delicious?
I don't know. You put enough ranch dressing on anything and you can eat it, for God's
right,
sakes.
Exactly.
Is the way I'm going to look at it.
A lot of balsamic vinegar on
that. But they use noxious weeds, and thistles is one of them that they can saute down, and they trim, and
trim off the
well, yeah,
edges,
you don't need to pick your teeth while you're eating a salad.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. But there's various plants that they do use, and the whole theme of this banquet, and it's a fundraiser to help fund organizations that are trying to eradicate noxious weeds.
Nice.
And their theme is eradication through mastication. I just love saying it.
Mastication.
Yeah, pull it up and eat it.
Right, as quick as you can, and
Yeah.
as much as you can.
Yeah,
But don't put it
anyway.
in your garden if you
Yeah,
acquire
for
a taste
God's
for
sakes,
it.
no.
Because that's what I'm thinking. It's like, oh, well, let's make these things edible and perhaps desirable so that you're just going to keep eating them.
Let's get into the 100 worst list.
Well, the 100 worst are the ones that aren't here yet in mass. However, there have been sightings throughout Oregon, but there have been control measures that are being taken, and so we've got a 100 worst list of. I don't think we'll get to all of them. How's that?
Oh, no, but there's some fun ones here.
Sure.
Okay, try this one. Didiomasophenia germinata.
That sounds like a geranium or no.
It's a water plant, and it really, really messes up. It's a freshwater microscopic plant that really blooms and putrefies whole water systems.
Microscopic plant.
Yep. It messes up with fishing equipment. It grows even in ballast tanks on ships. Will completely mess up the whole ballast system on ships. And its common name is rock snot.
Most of these invasive names are incredibly horrible names to say and to think about. But yeah, rock snot, and I guess we could all picture what that would look like.
Yeah, that's what it does.
It
It accumulates to the point where it becomes this viscous, vile, slimy thing.
And I think
it's a plant.
I can picture it, and I think I can picture seeing it also. But yeah, very microscopic plants in.
And then here's another one is, if I can pronounce it, a Haggii pseudo Haggii.
And that's two Haggii.
Yeah, two Haggii, and that's camel thorn. And that's a really nasty contaminant in alfalfa seeds, and grows readily in any kind of a cultivated field, and it can grow in a wide variety of soil textures, from gravel soil to well-tilled soil. It doesn't matter. It's indiscriminate. And once it gets into irrigation ditches and stuff like that, it's a mess.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah, it's unpalatable for animals, and the spines can be as long as an inch and 3/4. And it's very harmful to humans
Just
and
the
life.
spines, yeah.
Just
that
the
sounds
spines.
painful.
Yeah, they're nasty slivers.
Yeah, one of my favorite words is kudzu.
Yeah.
And I've driven around the south of the United States, and I've seen what kudzu actually does, and it is that vine that just climbs up the telephone poles, climbs up the buildings, climbs up anything that is around there, and just covers it.
Can cover a barn in a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
You just see this green mountain out in the middle of a field, and that's kudzu covering up some kind of a shed.
Right. So it's not invasive here in Oregon yet, but there have been sightings of it, and it is definitely something that we don't want wandering around.
Yeah,
here.
don't
It's
put it in your hanging basket.
Right. No, because it grows really fast, and it might be appealing for that reason.
Yeah.
But just take a drive down to Tennessee, down to Georgia, and see what this stuff really does. And it's incredible all over the telephone wires.
Yeah, nasty stuff. We've got Japanese knotweed, and that's another thing that they put in the salads down there.
Oh, for the invasive eaten.
Yeah, they saute it up and they mix it with the carp sushi.
Carp.
Yeah.
Carp invasive also. Huh?
Yep, Chinese carp sushi. Ick.
Actually,
not something I want to see on the CAM-A menu list.
That actually sounds pretty good.
There again, you put enough hot sauce on it, and
right,
you can eat it.
So what else do we have here? All of those thistles, the smooth distaff, woolly distaff,
purges and skirt. Another one that is getting a heck of a start here in Oregon, especially on the coast, is gorse.
Gorse.
Nasty invasive plant.
What is gorse?
Gorse is another low-growing spiny shrub, and the limbs, the twigs, taper off and become the spines on the thing. So they're really tough. I mean, they grow in lowland, sandy soils, marshlands, sandy marshlands. So when they put in a new golf course on the coast, the gorse is the first thing that sprouts up. Nobody knows why or how, but it sprouts. And
so it becomes a golf gorse.
Yeah. Golf gorse curse. When your ball lands in it, it stays there. You can't reach it with a ball hawk, I can tell you that.
More spines, yeah.
Oh, horrible stuff.
Yeah.
Another one, though, is Patterson's curse, which is poisonous to grazing animals and a threat in natural areas. And it's another one that's a potential invasive to your oak woodlands.
I don't want any part of that.
You don't want any part of that. And will completely supplant all the native grasses quickly.
As most of these invasive plants do, they take over so quickly, and within 1 or 2 seasons, you just notice a lot of them, and they're pretty much all over.
Yeah, there's one here though that is in Oregon, and it's called the oblong spurge, and it's a weedy ornamental that escaped from a site in Salem and one growing in Eugene. So it's crawling up the Willamette Valley now. It gets in the waterways, and here it comes.
Right, and it's not good for the livestock.
No.
And so that's why they're keeping an eye on that. And most of these, most of them are contained, and that's a good thing. And but they haven't been eradicated, which is what we're looking for when we've got some of these invasive plants they're sighted out there in the wild. They need to be taken care of, gotten rid of, and that's what they do.
Pull them up, burn them.
Eat them.
Saute them. No.
Yeah,
I'll let the real chef do that one.
Right, exactly.
But I would like to go down and try that.
I'll go with you.
Okay.
Yeah, let me know. And we'll go ahead and we'll do that. Let's take a final break right now. It's 9:50, 52 degrees here in
It's warming up.
McMinnville. Yes, that sun is getting brighter and brighter. But you're listening to The Root of It right here on KLYC, 1260 AM.
AM 1260 KLYC. We want to thank Recology Northwest Greenlands for sponsoring To the Root of It. It's because of their financial support makes it possible for us to have this program on the radio. We very, very much appreciate it. Talking to Nick Olheiser, who is the project lead at Recology Northwest Greenlands in McMinnville, there is a shift in the industry towards more organics, more naturals, and not chemicals and pesticides and unnatural fertilizers, but getting back to nature, right?
Exactly, yes. We're trying to get away from the man-made fertilizers that are so often used nowadays, trying to shift more into the organics and trying to educate individuals on the long-term benefits as well as the short-term benefits of organics. It's not good for just a year. It's good for 10 years. It's helping to restructure the soil, and it's not just providing instant nutrients. It's good in every way.
And it's also a lot safer to handle.
Absolutely, yes. It does not have, like you mentioned, the chemicals, the pesticides in it. So, yes, it's completely organic. Everything out here is OMRI listed, and it's good to go and put directly in your soil.
So come out here with your pickup truck. What kind of containers should people come out? Pickup truck, dump truck, what?
We can do pickup truck, dump trucks, trailers, whatever you have. You can also we do 5-gallon bucket sales if you just need something small for just a little in-house garden or backyard garden that you may have. We can do 30-gallon containers. Whatever you have, we'll make sure we meet your needs.
And phone number, do you have a website or a Facebook page?
Yes, we actually just got a brand new website all up and running with our prices as well as our hours and our address, and that's at www.compostoregon.com.
And again, phone number?
503-434-1671.
Well, Nick, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
AM 1260 KLYC, talking to Nick Olheiser, the project lead at Recology Northwest Greenlands in McMinnville, sponsor of To the Root of It on AM 1260 KLYC.
Hi, this is Bruce Huffman from Hillside. Did you know Hillside Retirement Community's Terrace Health Center is not for Hillside residents only? Our skilled nursing, assisted living, and memory care communities are open to the public. Call today to schedule a tour of these recently renovated communities. We currently have openings in memory care, assisted living, and skilled nursing. Whether you need someone to help you get ready for the day or manage your meditations or provide rehabilitation to return you to your home, Hillside has the community that is right for you. Come see for yourself how wonderful living in our community could be. Call 503-472-9534. That's 503-472-9533 today to schedule a tour. Thanks for listening.
A big part of the mission of the Bargain Barn in McMinnville is to help people through selling possessions from estates. Ron Gibson is always looking for estates with good quality merchandise, and when he finds those items, to make them available for sale to you.
We pay a fair price for everything that we have in our store. While we need to make a profit, we also want to be able to sell it low enough for other people to take it home. But if you have quality items that you don't want to see just donated somewhere, we would be glad to take a look at them.
So call Ron Gibson at the Bargain Barn, just across the parking lot from the grocery outlet in McMinnville, Highway 99W. Call 971-261-6991. 971-261-6991.
When we can find an estate that has some real quality furniture, passing that on to our customers is just one of the joys that we have in our business.
The Bargain Barn, McMinnville.
And welcome back. You are listening to The Root of It right here on KLYC 1260 AM. And in the few minutes that we have left in the show, the invasive plant show, I guess we should wish everybody out there that qualifies a happy Mother's Day that's coming up tomorrow.
And be careful what kind of plants you buy, Mom.
Oh, gosh, that's a really good tie-in. I didn't segue that. That's a really good one, yes.
Yeah, there's things that really, they're pretty in a pot.
Right.
But
but they spread.
Yeah, by August she'll be real ticked.
Right, so I guess everybody is pretty safe with those 24 roses.
Yeah. Yeah, just go ahead and get the tulips.
Right.
They're okay.
I'm looking at a nice bouquet of tulips right behind you, too, over on the desk. So it is the season, so everybody, happy Mother's Day tomorrow. There you go.
Yep.
But we'll go ahead and we'll finish up those invasive plants because there are other ones that are out there.
There's some that are used in gardens today, and I'm guilty of having grown them. But they are being classified as invasive because they do get out of control really quickly, or the method that they have of propagation is evil.
Right.
And one of the most favorite plants, my favorite plants, because of its aroma and its color, and it does draw butterflies, is the buddleia bush, the butterfly bush. And you don't see that sold very often in nurseries anymore without a disclaimer, because it produces so much seed, and the seeds float.
Oh, that's right.
And they get into water systems, and then they eventually go through the sewer system. They're not killed by filtration or anything. They get out into the rivers, and they go floating down the river until they find a nice gravel bank, and then they start making butterfly bushes there. And the first thing it does is it displaces the native willows, which are necessary for certain butterfly production, nesting and feeding and things of that nature. Some of our common beautiful butterflies use willows as nesting grounds, and then their little caterpillars eat the willows, and then they turn into butterflies, and they fly away, and they go back to Mexico. But the butterfly bush will replace the willow, and even though the butterfly likes the nectar in a butterfly bush, it does not
live in the butterfly
It does not
bush.
live there. It flies by and goes away.
Right.
It doesn't lay its eggs there.
Yeah.
So that's why it's been listed as an invasive species.
Mm-hmm.
It's not noxious because, it's still pretty. And there's certain kinds of Daphne that are now listed as invasives. There's certain types of euphorbias that are now listed as invasives because of their seed production, because of what they can do in your garden, if not properly contained.
Right, the myrtle spurge or the creeping spurge is one of those euphorbias that just goes ahead and isn't invasive. It spreads, but it really is. It's got those striking monkey tree-like leaves that it really looks pretty. I'm looking at a picture of it right now. Pointy leaves, almost sedum-like, and but it spreads really fast. Like most sedums, most stone crops,
Yeah.
they go ahead and they spread really fast. But that it's a euphorbia, and as striking as it is, it's just it's going to cause nothing but trouble.
There's some of the geraniums that, once they get out of control, are out of control quickly because of their seed production and the fact that they are so durable. I like the one that geranium robitarium,
Right.
which has the loving name in the state of Washington as Stinky Bob.
Stinky Bob.
Because when you take and rub the leaves together, it smells like burning tires.
It smells like something.
Yeah, and yet it's been used as an ornamental because it is so durable. It grows in any kind of horrible soil.
Thank you very much, because I have this in my horrible soil.
You got man.
No, what's really great about
I won't
this
go there.
is because it is in my garden right now that I've gone ahead and I've weeded out all of the ryegrass and all of the other weeds. But I left this specifically because I wanted to see what it looks like. I wanted to see what it went through because I didn't know what it was until right this very second. And I'm going home immediately, pulling it right out of the ground. Because it is not something that I want to look at apparently. And the life cycle's almost over. So
well, and here's one that's common in Yamhill County. That's a really, really, really ugly plant, and it's called Iris pseudocarius, or water iris, and it's a beautiful yellow iris. But again, it will mess up the water system something fierce, and it's growing on the bank of the Cozine right in front of my house.
because that's where it would like to grow.
That's where it likes to grow, and you can see it start to crawl. And eventually, we'll have to dig it up. We'll have to have a homeowner's dig and bury party.
Yeah, because it is one of those plants that has those tubes just spread and all over the place, and they'll be 6 feet from where you were the next season originally. So.
Well, when we first moved in there was a little clump over by the culvert, and now it's down about 40 feet.
Yeah, it's
and we've only lived there 2 years.
Yeah.
So that's how fast it can get carried away.
Striking flowers, though.
Oh,
Very
beautiful.
beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, icky. Totally rude.
Right.
And here's another one that's pretty common. The ulixes.
You know a lot of these names.
Yeah, this is the one that is the gorse and can be used as a dryland shrub, but when it gets out of control, it just completely chokes out pasture land and flower beds and everything.
Yeah, closely related to brooms.
Yeah.
Lots of brooms out there, too.
Yep. So anyway, that's our invasive plants for today.
That's our invasive show for today.
Yeah, please don't buy these and take them home, folks.
Right, really important. And when we're looking into these plants, just do a Google search to make throw invasive in front of the plant's name or something, just to make sure it's not an invasive
Make sure
plant.
it's something that you want in your garden.
Yep. And this is the time to be very picky because June's going to be here and everything's going to be in the ground. So
everything will grow.
Everything's right there.
Things will grow just fine.
Yep. Well, Ray, welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
And we'll see you next week for our Tomatoes and Roses show.
Tomatoes and roses next week. So if you got them suckers sitting in their utility room, it might be getting close to put them in the ground time.
And if you have any questions about those, which I'm hoping everybody does, or some people do, Ray at totherootofit.com. That's how you get a hold of Ray, and he is very adept at answering those questions. So thanks again for listening to the show. We'll be back next week, same time, same channel. Thanks for listening. This is To the Root of It, KLYC.
And keep your tools sharp.
KLYC, McMinnville, Newburgh, and Salem.
ABC